Peace be with you, everyone. Welcome to the channel. My name is Trevor. Very grateful to have you here. And today's video is going to be a recap of my weekly fragrance rotation, beginning September 30th, running all the way through October 6th. So starting off with that last Monday, reached for this one right here, Heritage from Guerlain. This is a vintage first release gold cap edition. Not too sure how the modern formulations smell. Haven't gotten my nose on anything other than this issuance of Heritage, but in general, it's a very nice sandalwood shaving foam style fragrance. Moves into that barbershop fougere category very elegantly, as most Guerlain fragrances do. They're generally high quality and easy to like, I would say. They all have a posh sort of makeup to them. This one has a little bit of a sharp opening. I don't know if it's coming in from juniper berry or what, but it's got a very cold, sharp opening. Moves into a very creamy sort of sandalwood though, like I said, and then very nice clean barbershop-esque feel. It has a certain optimism about it. It's very gentlemanly and put together, and is a scent profile that I think works very well in a very harmonious environment, something very put together, and kind of epitomizes the sentimentality of the 90s for me. Very optimistic, carefree to some extent, and just a absolute favorite in my collection, point blank period. I'm still kind of on the fence whether or not I enjoy that or the Roja clone of Heritage yet more. They each have some little certain nuances about them that I appreciate, but really enjoyed wearing that one on Monday. One of the things I like about that over the Roja is it's got a little bit more of a diffusive scent bubble, being an eau de toilette as opposed to a EDP or Parfum. Moving on to Tuesday, I welcomed October 1st with Zara's Leather Jardin, and this is a really nice sort of bright leather. It's got this very zingy, zesty, qualitatively sparkly, I want to say, citrus over the top. They list grapefruit, but I get a whole sort of combination of bergamot and other bright, sparkly citruses that give that nice textural feel of almost like a fizzy sensation, just purely out of the citric component. Moving into a floral mid, they list rose, but I get a general floral component that generally opens up more of a textural feel of flowers than it does a real scent profile. And then it moves into a rather kind of dark, old brown, cracked, dry, 60s style leather. I think they have new bottles, but this one does a good job of presenting the scent profile. It does harken back to a more vintage scent profile, but because of the way that the sparkly citruses and the soft floral component come together, it really modernizes this DNA. They even market this in the women's section, I believe, so it's that degree of versatile for being a vintage scent. It's just very pleasant, very long lasting. I get about 7 to 8 hours out of this, which is not common for Zara releases. I thought this was the only Zara in my collection, but I do have one other perfumed by Jo Malone, which this one was, called Joe's Rhubarb. This one is definitely my favorite of the two, although that one's not any slouch, I want to say, but really great way to introduce me to the month of October. A lot of these were in my top 10 October fragrance video. You can go check that out. There's a couple other ones that lean a little bit more artistically, though, that I wore towards the end of the week that weren't mentioned in that recommendation. This one, however, was, and it's somewhat of a legend in the community already. Maybe not this particular flanker. This one probably gets the least amount of talk, but is my favorite to be wearing during this time of the year. This is Terre Hermes Pure Parfum. And this I like to describe as a little bit of like a dry grass mixed with a Fanta soda. So there is this sparkly, fizzy orange quality that is cleaned up as opposed to the eau de toilette. This doesn't have quite as dirty and earthy soil style dry grass as the original. This one does a good job of sweetening things up a little bit with a hyper emphasis on the orange, moving more into that soda-esque orange candied quality, moving away from some, it still smells very natural, but it's moving away from the earthy, rindy aspects of the orange that the original presented, and just wears a lot more elegantly, I want to say. I think they're both a little bit more mature and not quite bubblegummy as many of the popular designers are, but this one I think is a great one to match the sort of color tones, these orange and yellows and kind of browns that really accompany, at least where I'm at, the foliage here in October. Thursday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, went with one of my favorite fragrances of all time, Eau Sauvage Parfum. Now, the 2012 and 2017 I kind of lumped together as one fragrance, even though I think they're distinct enough that one could be a flanker to the other. This one is definitely a lot more of a transitional season, whereas the original 2012 is more of a winter vibe for me. But with this, I get a really nice lemony, lavender, licorice combination. This, although there's no licorice note listed, there's sometimes star anise listed, and I think between that and the LME, this comes off very creamy, lavender-esque. My wife said this smelled a little bit like root beer when I put it on the other day, and I can definitely pick that up. It has this rooty style sweetness moving into that lavender-esque scent profile, but otherwise a really beautiful barbershop fougere feeling. It doesn't quite move into either an outdoorsy, woodsy fern scent profile, nor an overt creamy. I mean, it is very creamy, but it doesn't really move into a shaving foam scent profile, but it does a really good job of melding those two worlds together and coming up with something kind of very unique. And one of the reasons I enjoy wearing this one, other than the fact that it's one of the few barbershop style fragrances that I do get positive attention from, have gotten complimented by both men and women in various situations with that fragrance. So really beautiful wearing experience. No compliments this week, but really enjoyed that one for Thursday. Friday, I like to wear niche fragrances, and it started off a little bit rainy, so I went with this one right here, Iris Nazarena. This is one of my favorite rainy day fragrances, period. It has this northernmost style iris note in here. I forgot what the exact scientific or genus name of the iris they use in here is. I think it grows in high elevation points in the Middle East. And instead of that purple, powdery, and sweet lipsticky scent profile, it gives off much more of a silvery, cold, and rooty style iris. And so that silvery, cold, rooty element does a really good job of painting a picture that is harmonious with a rainy day. I like to describe this fragrance as a silver lining on a cloud. It definitely has a silvery scent profile for sure. The clouds did break a little bit into my shift at work, which started early at like 9 a.m. By like 11 or noon, it was really sunny outside, but still a brisk autumnal wind and a slight chill in the air. And I think this fragrance does a great job of mediating those two types of conditions. It has this light, airy brevity about it. It is very much like an aura that one puts on. Another picture other than a silver lining that I like to paint with regard to this fragrance is kind of like the Patronus spell. If you're familiar with Harry Potter, it's just kind of like a very bright silvery ghost companion that they are able to conjure up. And this fragrance, I think, goes into that direction very well. It has a little bit of a latexy textural feel as well. It's a woody leather iris fragrance, very light and airy, but very sophisticated, endearing, and artistic. A great wearing experience as well. Iris Nazarena, underrated house, Aedes de Venustas for Friday. And then Saturday and Sunday both were pretty pleasant weekend days for me. Got out into nature a little bit, walked out at the park with the kids. Saturday I went for this one. It was a very casual sort of day, didn't really do much, maybe ran a few errands and stopped out by my parents. Grimoire from Anatole Lebreton was my companion for that Saturday though, and this is a really nice papery feeling fragrance. So Grimoire is a reference to a spell book, and the papery feeling in here, the papyrusy style textural feel, something that you might be familiar with from things like Bentley for Men Absolute. But instead of a dark, sweet, spicy sandalwood overtone, this one has a intensely vibrant citrus up at the top. So it opens up with a really easy to wear, harmonious with warmer weather citrus, moving in and then drying down into a slightly lemon scented pages of a book. And that library feeling, the light, airy, woody, wispy, papyrusy, papery feel that this one gives off, It's very pleasant on a relaxing day. It kind of is reminiscent of the drying foliage around me to some degree, and then that bright, effervescent, sparkly citrus that opens up with goes really well on a sunny day, which that was kind of what I had going on. Bright, sunny, and a little bit of a chill in the air from the autumnal season. Really enjoying this one quite a bit. I know that it's been spoken about seldomly online, and that some people reference other fragrances in the same genre being a little bit better, but this was a great little pickup for me. 50 mLs for, I think after a coupon, got it for $105 from Scent Split. I'm looking forward to wearing that one quite a bit more here throughout the course of October, and potentially going to be my scent of the day for Halloween. And then finally, ending off Sunday, tried to do a few full review videos of this one, but kept falling flat on the delivery. So hopefully we'll be able to actualize one of those reviews here soon for this one. But this is Creed's Viking from the House of Creed, and the Viking moniker does a really good job of selling the fragrance. I could definitely see somebody like Santa Claus maybe wearing this, a Nordic bearded individual. It has a really nice combination of red, green, and white color tones, also mixed in with a little bit of a rosy pink. Kind of reminds me of blush to some degree, the colors that this evokes from me. Very spicy, clove forward, a little bit of a riff off of Old Spice. You can kind of even see with the reference to the sailing ship that they took that DNA a little bit and brought it into here, mixed it in with a sandalwood style fougere, not all that dissimilar from this fragrance, I want to say, with a nice spicy overtop with pink pepper and clove. Really beautiful wearing experience. I absolutely adore this one. It's one of my favorite Creeds, just because the barbershop genre is my favorite genre of fragrance. So this one climbs to the top of my favorite Creed list rather easily. Hard to come by this one for a decent price. It's one of the more higher end in terms of the discounters prices. Usually not available for under $220, $225. I don't like to pay more than $200 for my Creeds, so be patient and look out for deals if you can. Maybe use some rewards points or loyalty at certain discounters if you've worked that up, if you're interested in grabbing this bottle. Or I think the testers without the cap come in at right around $180. But definitely something I would recommend sampling for this autumnal season. One of my favorites. I think it reminds me even of a brisk autumn wind with that invigorating sort of chill that comes in from the first change of the weather, and that howling aspect that kind of blasts you and really vitalizes you in some sense. It's a little bit of what I get with this fragrance between its hot and cold harmony. I'm really looking forward to wearing this one a lot more here. Also made my top 10 October list, and let me know if you've tried this one in the comment section down below. And that was the recap of my fragrance rotation. Let me know what yours was in the comment section down below as well. And as always, I really appreciate you sticking with me to the end of the video. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.